Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and Jai Hind. I am Major Mohammed Ali Shah, and I have the proud privilege and honor to be in conversation with few renowned, illustrious personalities who need no introduction at all. Yes, you all know them. You all are very familiar with their work. In fact, they have just come together and they have made a film, a brilliant film called Yes, Papa. I was fortunate that I saw a bit of shooting of it, and I would say my elder brother, Saif Heather Hassan, has written, directed, and produced it. He will tell us more on this. And of course, on screen, you can see national award winning filmmaker Anand Madhavan, and he is going to be acting in this film. The film's name is Yes, Papa. Yes, and he's played the role of Papa in this, and we'll speak to him further on this. Yes, you can see a very famous, renowned, and a very respected, reputed author. My favorite author, I would say, Nananta Puri, and she needs no introduction at all. You are very, very familiar with her work. You'll see her act. You have seen her late husband act on screen, Om Puri Sahab. You'll see her acting prowess now on screen. And of course, we see a very, very young, beautiful face, Deepika Tyagi. She's there right now. She's just got back from a late night shooting from out of Mumbai, and she's back in town now. She will be speaking to, and of course, we will be joined soon by Vijay Kolhapuri. And let's go straight ahead and ask the director, producer, and writer, Saif Bhai, tell me, how did you think about writing this film? And did you actually conceptualize it?
So I think I'll have to go back to 2018, and that's when me and my wife Sadia had visited a what do you call this, Anathalaya and orphanage, and we had met a victim who was sexually abused by her father, a girl who was sexually abused by her father, and I think that's where the concept took place, and I just started writing it. Everything came together in a jiffy. So in 2018, I wrote the script, but it took almost 2 years plus to get it on the floors and another 2.5 years. So I'd just like to say that we are finally releasing on 1st March. So it's been a journey of almost 5 years. Yeah,
Wow.
Tejaswini is also, yeah.
We
So it's been a
welcome
journey.
on the beautiful face, Tejaswini Kolhapuri, who needs no introduction at all. And she has played a very pivotal role in this film. And yes, Saif Bhai, please continue. You were telling us about.
Yeah, so it's been a journey of almost 5 years now. Well, hopefully, we'll see the light on 1st March. The public will get to see the film. So it's the concept of, I always say the concept of rape is something which I never understand. But the idea of a child going through this is even more appalling because an adult has the voice to express himself or herself, but a child does not. And especially if the trauma is inflicted by a family member or a father in particular, then what does that child do? Usually, what happens is such victims do not even know what has happened to them. Yes, Papa talks about a victim of this kind. It talks about silent suffering and how a person emerges as a fractured personality when one grows up, and the entire family uh, goes through the trauma. So yes, Papa is about is about all this.
Right.
I've been very
Let's.
fortunate to have this cast with me. Uh, Anandji, why I'm saying this right now is Anandji. So everybody and anybody used to tell me, "Don't make this film. Don't make this film." So Anandji told me a very interesting thing that when 100 people tell you not to do something, go ahead and make it. So
Wow.
yeah, that's exactly how we started shooting. And yeah, I'll get on to the conversation. I think you should ask everybody else. They're all here.
Wow. So, Anandji, you said that when 100 people tell you not to do something, you should do it then. And when was this the first time that you heard the same thing? And is that what prompted you further on to do go on to greater heights and achieve the laurel that you've achieved in life, sir?
I mean, I've experienced this, that when the whole world is against a concept or against you, it means that there's something right about you that, they do not want to happen. And I think that's what I shared with Saif, that do not get discouraged by people sort of, holding their ideas or their opinion onto you. Go with what your heart tells you, go with what your conscience tells you, go with what your mind tells you. And if you feel that is right, please do it. And I think it was difficult. It was a difficult decision for him with this film, because this kind of a situation. I mean, I wouldn't call it a concept. It's a situation that he has very interestingly fleshed out into a feature, and the the whole idea of sexual abuse within the family is very daunting, and it's a very difficult subject to handle. How how can you caress this kind of a concept? How can you treat the characters as flesh and blood and not as devils and goddesses and victims? I think that's where Saif has succeeded with this film. A certain subtlety, a certain artistic endeavor, and of course, his own vision of how this film should be treated. I think that's what really attracted me towards the subject. And although my role in it is, again, not something that every actor would want to jump for, because it's a very character assassination kind of thing. And how does one treat this? So I shared this idea with say, why don't we treat him like a person with a lot of virtues, a person who can sing, a person who can be very artistic, and yet beneath that facade lies the devil himself. So that's how we've treated this film, and that's what gives you, goosebumps throughout. That a man who could be so normal, who could be so artistically inclined, could also have this evil streak within him.
But tell me one thing, Anji, you being a filmmaker yourself, that too a national award-winning filmmaker, how was it being directed by Saif Bhai, who is from a hardcore theatre background? In fact, he's done a lot of commercial theatre, which have with some of the biggest names in the industry, and he's done really well in theatre. So, did you have the faith in him being a debutant director that he will be able to pull it off?
I think debutant directors have a certain spontaneity. They do not get sort of, classified into or typed into some kind of image, and they attempt to experiment, and that's what Seth has done in this. I've always been a director's actor, and I wouldn't interfere with the director's vision at all. I could contribute to it, but I can't interfere with it, because you never know what another person comes up with, and that's exactly what Seth has done with this film. He has surprised you.
Right. Let's ask my favorite author, Nanda Puri. Nanda, you can smile. I know we are friends, but it's okay. You're very conscious. कि भैया अब दोस्त interview कर रहा है, अब क्या करेंगे? So she tried to look very, very serious and tried to look very, very professional and all. कि भैया, it's okay. Yeah, chill, man. Okay, Nanda, let's hear your acting experience. You were always the biggest critique of your husband. In fact, in the sense, you would appreciate his work and you would also give him the feedback. And इस बार आप खुद you were in front of the camera, and from writing columns, books, to now in front of the camera as an actor. How did it feel?
Well, initially, I was absolutely, when Saif came to me and narrated the story and said, I wanted to play the mother, and Anand's wife, and the mother who's not a very I mean, not a very likable character, because she's been very indifferent, she's been very cold, she's not been helping the child when the child was complaining. So it was many layered, multi-layered. And I was a little worried whether I would be able to essay that role. But I don't know, Saif had some confidence in me. And I asked Anand, he kind of helped me out a bit. Then during the shoot, the scene with Tejaswini and me, my hands actually turned cold. And, she tried to really make it easy for me. She was talking about, she did a film with my husband, Omji, and she was talking about the Dubai shoot and completely trying to put me at ease. And I had a difficulty in memorizing long passages. Obviously, memorizing, emoting, everything together. So Saif suddenly came and said, just forget the script, know the matter, and say it in your own words, whether
Wow.
English, whether Bengali, whether English, Hindi, and break into Bengali a bit because she's basically a Bengali. I mean, the lady is a Bengali. So that was that. I think the director was fabulous in making me feel very easy and comfortable. And then, of course, I worked with three fabulous actors. You know, Deepika as a daughter, I remember a take where she had to cry and my whole sleeves, one sleeve was wet. And then there was another take. I said, oh my God, now am I going to get this dry? So, it's a fabulous. I'm the novice, the newcomer here, but I enjoyed working, and the subject was very, very endearing and very close to my heart. And I think I've written a book called Jennifer, which is not only on
I read
child
that.
trafficking and yes, and it's also on child incest, with the father and the child. So this kind of this was a subject quite close to me, and I'd worked on Jennifer for 5, 6 years. So this was, I was kind of I could empathize with the character, with the
I can
story.
imagine, I was, in fact, slightly a small molecule part of your journey when you would research on Jennifer, when she would come home and you would converse with her. I remember meeting Jennifer, in fact, in person, and in fact, your hard
Yes.
work. Let's ask Gitika. Nanda just mentioned that, when you would cry and weep and a whole arm used to be wet. So, did you do that with glycerine or without glycerine? And how was the experience overall, Gitika?
No, I never used glycerine. In fact,
No
had I used
glycerine.
so had I used glycerine, it would have been so difficult for me to even sit through the take because I'm not saying I've never used it. I've used it just to see how it feels. So when you use glycerine, your eyes burn and you can't keep them open. So you can just get away with a small scene or something like that. But if you have to perform like a long scene, you will keep blinking, and the whole scene will go for a toss. So you cannot use glycerin. You have to use your emotions and your pain and memories, and basically the script became the script I mean, I never got a proper script from Seth. We never got like full-fledged, as stretched out scenes and written dialogues from Seth. So dialogues भी कुछ they पहले ही provide किए जाते थे और so it used to become mine. So that is how I have kind of I performed and glycerine तो दूर की बात है कभी कभी तो scene से पहले we used to I remember we used to crack jokes. So हम जब scene कर रहे हैं उस time पे emotions click and then you get into a scene. So you can say it was like a connect. And with Nandita ji, she was very supportive, and we made an instant connection, I would say. And
Supportive
so
on
yeah,
screen
it
or
was
off screen? On screen while you were crying, she was supportive then, or supportive off screen as well?
supportive off screen also, all of them. Like it was like one big unit. We bonded quite a bit, like on and off screen. So it has been a wonderful journey. Like Steph said, it's been a very long journey, like 5 years. It's not it's a lot that we have already seen and gone through, ups and downs. And he will tell you more about it, his journey, his sensor journey, his experiences with potential distributors and other people in the industry, and the kind of struggles and the kind of things that he has seen and discussed with all of us. So he will be able to tell you more on this. But as far as the film is concerned, I can say, these issues, masses avoid these issues. They just want to shove them under the carpet. They don't want to talk about it. So the moment Seth discussed about this film, First and foremost, the thought which came to my mind was that it's a fantastic role for any actor, and if you're a greedy actor, you will jump
Yeah.
at it. So yeah, so my first thing was that कि मुझे तो बहुत अच्छा रोल मिल रहा है, मैं बहुत बहुत मजे आएंगे करने में, इतने सारे इमोशंस है, layers है. Second thing was the topic was so important and nobody talks about it, you know. And for us, it was like we have to put that spotlight on these issues, you know. These issues which create monsters, silences in the society create these monsters and demons. इनके बारे में कोई बात नहीं करता. So हम तो करें. So this was also like my thought, and social issues always have interested me, and I actually go extra mile, I go extra steps to do any sort of things, or if they are socially relevant. So these two things were my came to my mind when Seth discussed this.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And Tejaswini, I want to know, Gitika Tyagi just mentioned that, if you're a greedy actor, you will pounce on it. My take is, I think that all actors are greedy, actually. We all are greedy somewhere in our hearts. And, as an actor, कुछ भी में ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, ना नहीं करना, ये भी काम, for your own creative hunger. Your from that, do you think that all actors are actually greedy, and your experience on working on this film?
Yes, of course. I mean, if a project like this comes your way, you would see the character that the kind of, first of all, everybody sees the length of your character, no? As well as the weightage it carries. So this had both. So obviously, I mean, I would expect Gitika to jump at it. If I was in her place, I definitely would. But in fact, Saif had come to me many years back with this project. And when I heard it, I was in fact doing something similar. So so he then came to me many years later again with the same project. So we've been trying to work together for a while. And
12 years.
Wow.
Sorry,
12 years.
12 years.
more than that.
Yeah.
So when he came back to me and I said, no, this is a sign, I have to work with him. Irrespective of the length, irrespective of anything, I said, okay, I will do this project. And of course, there were such wonderful actors in the project. I worked with Tanvita ji. She's such a darling to work with. Gitika, of course, but not much, in terms of screen time. And of course, Anand ji, I didn't get a chance to even meet him. I was looking forward to seeing you. I worked with Divya and Hassan. And so it was, the entire setup was so lovely. And I've been wanting to work with Seth. So it just somehow worked out. And actually, there was one incident that happened. I reached Delhi and I had a really bad time over there because we were just towards the end of COVID and I felt sick and I thought, my God, what happened to me? That one day, I think I don't know, you managed to do other work, other stuff, other shots, but I was feeling so bad because...
जब आप ग्रेटर नोएडा में थी, रैडसन में, उस टाइम की बात है ये.
Sorry?
When you were in Radisson in Greater Noida. Okay.
Noida, yeah. So,
Right.
and he was so uncomfortable. He was like, oh my God, she's fallen sick. Obviously, as a producer, as a director, I can totally get it. And I was, my God, I said, how am I going to, I hope I'm okay. I went to the doctor, I took a shot and I said, I have to finish these 2 days. I have to do it. And somehow it just worked out. So this is the worst thing. I mean, it's been a fear, in terms of if you're doing a film, if you're doing something and you fall sick, what happens? And it actually happened during this film itself. So, somehow I managed. And about my character, she's playing this defense lawyer, Pranati, and she's very obviously sympathetic towards what she's gone through, what Gitika's gone through. And she obviously knows she's a part of a very large crime that's happened with her. So, that's the character that I'm portraying. And in fact, first day when I shot with him, he sent me a couple of scenes on my phone, and things don't generally, scare me or creep me out. I was so creeped out that night after seeing that scene. I couldn't sleep properly. And I have a daughter. She's turning 9 on Tuesday, and I kept calling my house, and I kept because I
9
had
months
left
old or 9 months
9
old?
years, 9 years, 9 years.
Oh, okay, all right.
So she's 9, and that point of time,
Nanda's smiling at, she knows that. Nanda's smiling at my question.
and she was, I think, around 5 way back then when I'd left her. And with great difficulty, I left her and I came for the shoot. So I kept calling home and I kept, talking to my maid and saying, "Ki, saath mein jana, idhar nahi jana, udhar nahi jana." I kept giving so many instructions after seeing that scene, and I've been so freaked out after that, especially after seeing the film. I mean, I was blown with the, he has gone beyond what he has explained. So I came out of the film and I was like, oh my God, Seth, what have you made? It was literally like this. Because as I said, I've done something similar that is completely different. And this is absolutely different, So I came out completely creeped out again. And yeah, yes. And yeah, my antennas and everything with my daughter. I'm like this mother hen 24/7.
In fact,
And that has
उनको
actually spilled over in this character as well.
इनफैक्ट तेजस्विनी को मैं जो ब्रीफ दिया था वो यही दिया था कि एज अ लॉयर और अ मदर हैन एंड दैट कम्स आउट इन हर इंटरेक्शंस विद गीतिका. मैं कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये कास्ट और क्रू के बगैर ये फिल्म इतनी मुश्किल होती ना बननी, क्योंकि पैसे थे नहीं, पैसे अब भी नहीं है, और ये सब्जेक्ट ऐसा है कि लोग सुनते ही एक गंदा विजुअल अपने दिमाग में बना लेते थे कि फादर डॉटर सेक्सुअल अब्यूज, तो कुछ एक परवर्स सा विजुअल इमेज आंख के सामने बन जाता था, चाहे वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर हो, चाहे वो XYZ, कि ये क्या बना दिया है स्टेज पे, तो तुम लव स्टोरीज बनाते हो, ये क्या बना दिया तुमने. बट मैं बता रहा हूँ, एक एक एक्टर इस फ्रेम में जितने लोग हैं सब मेरे पिलर बने. और मैं ये अपॉर्चुनिटी लेता हूँ, मैं जानबूझ के हिंदुस्तानी में बात कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि वो इमोशन अंग्रेजी में नहीं आएगा, कि मैं सबका इतना शुक्रगुजार हूं कि ये मेरी सबके सब रीढ़ की हड्डी बने. ये फिल्म एक कुछ कहना चाहती है और ये इन लोगों के बगैर, वरना या तो फिर मैं कुछ मतलब बन ही नहीं पाती है फिल्म, किसी भी हाल में नहीं बन पाती. एक्टर्स हुए, मेरे टेक्नीशियंस हुए, मेरा क्रू हुआ, मेरे वेंडर्स हुए, वो जो मतलब सबने एक तरीके से दिल जीता, और दिल जीतने के साथ जो मैं कहता हूँ रीढ़ की हड्डी जो बने. आनंद जी को मैं दिन में 2 बार फोन करता हूँ एटलीस्ट, गीतिका को भी मैं ऐसे ही फोन करता हूँ. मतलब मैंने एक जगह कहीं कहा था कि मैं छींकता भी हूँ तो मैं इन लोगों को फोन करता हूँ, और मैं छींकता भी हूँ तो फोन करता हूँ. सो तेजस्विनी, I mean, has been so generous. Nandita has been so generous. Everybody. मुझे याद है दिव्या सेठ ने जब ये स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ी थी, मैंने शायद सीन भेजा होगा, स्क्रिप्ट मैंने किसी को पूरी नहीं भेजी थी, उसका रीजन बताता हूँ क्यों नहीं भेजी थी. तो दिव्या सेठ ने एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग लाइन बोली थी. उन्होंने कहा था, आई होप दिस क्रिएट्स अ डायलॉग. वो थॉट मेरे दिमाग में उस तरीके से पहली बार आया था. वो उन्होंने शी वाज द फर्स्ट वन हु यूज्ड दिस वर्ड, आई होप दिस क्रिएट्स अ डायलॉग. और अब हम सब ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि ये फिल्म डायलॉग क्रिएट करे. ये सिनेमाज में तो हिट कर रही है 1 मार्च को एक लिमिटेड तरीके से, लेकिन अभी हमारी स्क्रीनिंग्स हैं. परसों इनफैक्ट आई एम गोइंग टू दिल्ली ऑन द 1st. वहाँ फॉरेन कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट्स क्लब में 2 तारीख को स्क्रीनिंग है. आई जस्ट होप कि ये जो हमने एक सिलसिला शुरू किया है इस कहानी का, इसकी कड़ी बनती जाए जब तक ये फिल्म रिलीज हो. और ये तुम्हारा ये प्लेटफॉर्म, आई होप दिस रीचेस एज मेनी पीपल एज पॉसिबल. और जितने लोग यहाँ फ्रेम में मौजूद हैं, मैं सबको तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ फॉर स्टैंडिंग विद मी, स्टैंडिंग बाय मी. और आगे फिर कोई सवाल वरना मैं इमोशन में बहता जाऊंगा.
Right. You know, the only thing that stops us from reaching where we want to go is we our own selves and no one else. So of course, and the very fact is, like as Majid Sultanpuri once said, मैं तो अकेले ही चला था जाने में मंजिल, मैं तो
लोग
अकेले ही चला था जाने में मंजिल, मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया.
वहाँ बनता गया.
So the journey to 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and you took a single step. And yes, I hope it starts a dialogue. But I can see Anand sitting over there, quite cut up with you for some reason. I don't know what if I sense it right, and he looks a little cut up. And is it because do you think? Correct me if I'm wrong. मेरी guess is ये हो रही है for you sitting cut up is that you think that Saif has cut any of your scenes or something?
Sure not.
No, I was once told that there are no big or small actors, only small parts, and Saif proved that right. And I actually had 3 more scenes in the original script, but I made the big mistake of creating an impact with the scenes I shot. So he said, we don't need those scenes anymore, because you've already done what is to be done. So, sometimes actors shouldn't be too, involved and try and finish off everything within, 6 scenes. Now he tells me that Gabbar only had 9 scenes in Sholay and look at the impact, so now he tries
And I
to
also tell
justify
him,
it, but
and I
anyway,
also tell him, शोले 3 घंटे की फिल्म थी, ये 85 मिनट्स की फिल्म है.
You also
so
cut
look
off
at,
my
look at
one
him, look at him
monologue.
justifying cutting away all my scenes, so I have to be cut up.
You cut this way scene also. I mean, it's भाई बहुत शिकायत है भाई. This is like
No, so
the actor-
I had a big paragraph, and so I was preparing for it, and suddenly he comes to me after I've launched it and everything. He's saying, you know what? It's just going to be, sound and light and everything, and you're just going to be there and you're going to be talking, but of course I'm not going to be, heard. So I'm like, okay. I've prepared and I've come, and I was so excited for that. And he's told me all this.
माफी हुजूर माफी.
No, but it's turned out damn good.
Right. Let's ask Nanta. Nanta, you wrote Jennifer, and of course, you did extensive research on child trafficking and child abuse and such things. And when you used to interact with Jennifer, so now, did writing Jennifer somewhere, kahin pe, did that help you as well to relate with this film? And do you think, had you not written a book like Jennifer, you would have been able to relate to this film the way you did?
I certainly think Jennifer did help because I was, really involved in Jennifer's story for 4-5 years. I saw how she was sexually abused by her father, fathers slash, father, stepfather, etc. But I don't think if I had not worked on Jennifer that it would have made, it wouldn't have helped me any less. But yes, it certainly did help me more because I did understand this whole incestuous thing which happens in families, and it actually happens. Otherwise one would think it happens. It's just written about. It doesn't happen to us, so we are not involved. Since I was already involved 6-7 years in that field, so the empathy was there. I could probably feel. I was more empathetic towards the whole subject.
So how much of the shooting did Ishan see of you on the set? Did Ishan get to see any of your? Ishan is Nanda's son, a brilliant actor, a very, very dear friend of ours, in fact. So how much shooting did Ishan see of your work when you were on the set?
Ishan didn't see any of the shooting because I came down to Delhi. He was, busy with his classes. So he didn't see the shooting, but he saw the film and he loved the film. He spoke to Saif about it.
There's some network coming up. Maybe Ishan is trying to call one of them.
No.
Are you sure?
Is it from me? Is it from my phone?
No, I don't know. पता नहीं किसका है. जिसका भी हो, कोई बात नहीं. अच्छी बात है. It's a good frequency coming in. That's perfectly fine. I'm particularly, Anand, because I'm particularly keen on knowing Ishan क्या राय रखते हैं अपनी माताश्री के बारे में उनको परफॉर्म करते हुए देख के. After seeing his legendary father perform, And when they had gone to Hollywood, so that time Steven Spielberg had mentioned to Ishan that you will be a rage. So I want to particularly see Ishan's reaction on his mother's work on that. And Tejaswini, आपने अपनी बहन पद्मिनी कोल्हापुरी जी से कुछ जिक्र किया about your role and about your this thing, कुछ जिक्र हुआ उनसे?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh. No, you're talking. Acha, you're
I think
talking to Tejaswini.
Hello.
I'm asking
Sorry.
Tejaswini.
Yeah.
No, I haven't spoken to her about this.
Okay.
But I mean, I've shared a couple of scenes with my family, and yeah, they've all been, oh my god, what is this movie? You see, that's the reaction everyone's been giving.
Right. So Gitika, let's hear from you. You know, your inspiration to come into acting. आपको वो प्रेरणा कहाँ से मिली कि आपको एक्ट्रेस बनना है भाई?
I must have been 4 years old, and
Wow.
my grandmother was very inclined, like towards theater and art, and I used to go with her to all these plays and readings, and to Mandi House, to Sri Ram Center, Lalit Kala Academy, and she was extremely fond of theater in Delhi. So ये तो वहाँ से शुरू हुआ, and then slowly she only introduced me to this medium. Uh, she used to put me in theater workshops during my summer vacations, and then I did a lot of plays with Urdu Academy and Lalit Kala Academy while I was growing up in Delhi. So फिर उसके बाद when I got into college, अब वो एक career choose करने की जो रहती है, I chose journalism instead of acting, because acting फिर वहीं तक रही. And when you're in Delhi, you think differently. You don't think, especially if your parents are not from this industry. So natural inclination was towards journalism, because both my parents, used to work in news and news publications. So then I chose journalism, and then finally, when I applied, not applied, I got through in a news channel in Bombay, and I moved to Bombay from Delhi, and that is how I came to Bombay with a job in hand. I wasn't like prepared that I'll leave Delhi and come to Bombay to become an actress. Nothing of that sort. So यहाँ आके slowly and gradually I realized that this medium is changing. I'm talking about journalism. I'm talking about electronic media, and it's not for me. And I was becoming a little dejected, so I got back to theatre in Bombay. So then from theatre, the journey started again, and one thing led to another, and then I did a couple of good TV shows. Started with Powder, with YRF, and yeah, so and auditions होते गए, लोगों ने मिला, मतलब लोगों से मिले, फिर उसके बाद चीजें करते गए, थिएटर चलता रहा. So yeah, this has been the journey.
Right. And Saif bhai comes from a hardcore theater background. आपने बड़े जबरदस्त plays कर रखे हैं.
अच्छा एक मिनट Ali एक मिनट. Tejaswini I think needs to leave in the next 5 minutes.
Okay. This funny. So you have to leave in the next 5 minutes. We also, because the light of the screen right now at the moment will leave in the next 5 minutes, we would say. So Tejaswini, before we let you go, any last message you would like to throw out in the universe? Regarding your film, regarding your work, कुछ भी अगर आप बोलना चाहें दर्शकों को, कुछ भी.
So as we were discussing when Saif was talking about what he went through and everything, I have done my first film, in fact, which hasn't released, but it's there on the net. We went through something similar, with that film as well. And I completely get it where Saif is coming from. So, this project is also very close to my heart because of that reason. And the kind of passion that he's shown, he's been there. Of course, he doesn't call me every time, but so, but he's always been so passionate about everything and the way he's gone about, and it's amazing. I mean, a film like this, which is releasing on the 1st of March, it's I should actually salute Yusuf for this, because it's not an easy task. And a lot of times, we do films and they don't come out, and it's very disheartening. But it's I'm so happy that this project is going to be coming out, and I'm so happy that he's put in so much of hard work in this. A lot of times what happens is you just feel कि छोड़ो यार अभी क्या करना है और क्या करना है. It's very disheartening. So, what I want to say about this film is it's a very important film, and as you know, Steph has said that definitely it should start a dialogue, and it's very important that people come out and talk about it. Of course, you have to, as a mother, I see there are a lot of women are very afraid of the kind of things that are going on. I know because I'm on all these mummy groups and things like that. I keep seeing all the chats and everything. So it's very important that women are educated, women talk about it, women share things amongst each other, and this definitely will give that kind of confidence to their, and they have to give confidence to their children to come and talk to them about something like this, because I'm constantly asking, is it okay, what happened there, who was there, who was in the room with you. I'm always asking these questions. So who did you go with? Don't go alone in the lift, the cameras on, things like that. I'm always doing that all the time. I'm scared. So because of course, all these things that are being spoken about and heard. So definitely this will start a dialogue, and women and family members will be
Yeah.
careful, in what's going on, and they have to be very careful with what's happening, because a lot of people, a lot of families, they leave their children because parents are working. They leave their children. There are such horror things that keep coming up. So it's very important that, of course, work is important as well, but you have to be careful at home.
True, very true. What you are saying is very true and very right. And as parents, of course, we are concerned about children. And you had mentioned previously, इससे पहले, when you spoke about fear, हल्का सा fear होता है इस जहन में. तो मेरे को उससे मैंने नालंदा की लाइब्रेरी से किताब फॉलो की थी, खलील जिब्रान की प्रॉफिट. उसमें मेरे को जहन में याद आ रहा है कि उसमें fear के ऊपर 4 लाइनें लिखी थी खलील जिब्रान ने, बड़ी खूबसूरत थी. वो थी ऐसे: If Anand permits me, I'll just recite those 4 lines. It says. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled across the peaks of the mountains, the long winding roads crossing forests and villages. And in front of it, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter seems nothing more but to disappear forever. But there's no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river now has to take the risk of entering the ocean, because it is now that fear will disappear and the river will know it is not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. So I'm sure this film is also going to be it's going to be huge, Sevbhai, and I can predict that. And तेज भाई, I know you got to go, but अगर आप बस हम खत्म ही कर रहे हैं वैसे 2-4 मिनट में, ठीक है? Let's take any last message from Anand if he wants to throw out any message in the universe from his side.
See, I don't believe in messages. I mean, cinema is more about creating awareness. Cinema is more about being an eye opener. And I think it's quite gutsy of Saif to have chosen this subject as his debut film, because not many directors would want to do this as their first film. So I think it's going to be tough on him to do his second film, because may not be as volatile as this one. But I would say that if the audiences who keep complaining that they are not given cinema of substance, I think they should come forward in hordes and see this film, recommend it, and make sure that cinema of this kind spreads as far and wide as possible, because create it could be a game changer. It could create a change of language in which our cinema is spoken. And that would be the best thing that Yes Papa can do for cinema in India and for the audiences in general.
Very well said. Very well said. Nayanta, let's hear any last message you'd like to throw out in the universe from your side.
Just for the sake of the subject, for the sake of a subject like this, and for the sake of the courage of the director and his passion, I want, I would wish this film, as Anand said, and Tejaswini said, to really do well for audience to see and for family members like the one I portrayed in the film be a little more forthcoming and not just put everything under the carpet. So that's what I would wish for the film. I wish it would start a dialogue, a good one.
Absolutely. Kritika, आखिरी संदेश आपकी तरफ से.
All my wishes are for the team, for Saif, for this film. I really wanted to do well. It has a selfish reason also, but for the subject, for just to create awareness. And I also feel that I am not just an actress in this film. I am like that every child who has been sexually exploited, like mentally, physically, emotionally exploited, and their parents to understand what it takes, because adulthood doesn't solve anything. Adulthood doesn't solve these traumas. And this film, I want it to raise questions, and question these women who turn blind eye towards this whole issue. They are the ones who create these monsters, who go absolutely like unnoticed and with no accountability. So वो उनको भी समझ आनी चाहिए कि they need to understand these things, understand their children, and मतलब वो अगर एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाते हैं उनकी बात कैसे समझी जाए and notice की जाए. So wives and mothers also will take notice of this.
Wow, that's very nice. And Saif bhai, any last message from the director's point of view, and also Sadia Appa is the producer of this film as well. तो उनकी तरफ से कोई संदेश उन्होंने आपको कन्वे किया होगा, एक तो वो, और इसमें एक और very thing which I'm very interested in is that small child also acted in this film, who incidentally is also my cousin in it. So हल्का सा आप just throw for a minute, and Tejaswini, I'm so sorry, you might kill me after that. Thankfully virtual है, बस मैं आपको लास्ट में हम खत्म ही कर रहे हैं बस.
देखो यार, लास्ट मैसेज कुछ नहीं. अब ये है कि now that we are gearing up for release, I am now hoping that the audience warms up to the film. They watch the film. जैसे आनंद जी ने कहा, इसकी ग्रामर अलग है, इसका अंदाजे बयां अलग है, और एक बहुत अहम मुद्दे पे कही गई है. तो आइए देखिए. और दूसरा चीज ये कि मैं आपको बताता हूँ एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज. मुझसे 2 साल पहले किसी ने कहा था कि ये फिल्म, आफ्टर जस्ट हियरिंग द सब्जेक्ट, कि सर वो जो मिडनाइट फिल्म्स जो होती हैं कुछ, आई थिंक दे वर टॉकिंग अबाउट सम पॉर्न, हम वहां इसको सर्कुलेट कर देंगे. No, so this is exactly what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. Now that we had a battle with the censors, हमें 6 महीने के बाद सर्टिफिकेट मिला, because सेंसर के हिसाब से these things don't happen in India. Somebody telling me कि midnight slot में आपको दे देंगे जहाँ पे porn films वो होती हैं. Now we are coming to 1st March. I just hope that people come and watch the film. And हमें एडल्ट सर्टिफिकेट मिला है, लेकिन मैं बहुत उससे कह सकता हूँ कि ये आप अपने फैमिली मेंबर्स के साथ ये फिल्म देख सकते हैं. आप अकेले बैठ के ना देखें, आप साथ बैठ के देखें. तो दिस इज बेसिकली. हाँ, जो तुम बच्ची की बात कर रही थी, आई नो शी इज योर कजन. her parents, Tariq and Fawzia, were my classmates. So I didn't want a regular child artist there. And I just went to them and I said I want her to do the film. I didn't want a regular child artist with those trained mannerisms and stuff. So that's about it.
Ji.
I
remember
say one
when...
thing.
Yes.
Sorry.
Please. Please.
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
before I forget, because Seth has just mentioned that people should watch it in groups and with their parents and with their children, because I really hope they do, because I want them to reflect. Like I said that wives and mothers questions raise हो सकते हैं, but also maybe it can make people brave enough to come out and discuss and share their stories. कि उनके साथ ये हुआ था, जो कि I experienced it in Boston. two ladies, like because why they came to me and shared the stories, maybe because they probably wouldn't see it again in their life. So they came out from theater and they said that something like this happened when I was 9, when I was 12. And I was shocked. And when Seth said कि India में सोचते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं होता है, there's so many cases. We keep exchanging messages, we keep sharing news, with each other. जहाँ पे वो मुझे कुछ भेजते हैं print की न्यूज प्रिंट और हम भी भेजते हैं कि हाँ देखिए ये एक और खबर आई है, कभी कहाँ से एक और खबर आई है, तो ऐसा बहुत होता है. So if it can make them brave enough to come out and share their stories, तब भी half battle is won.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember जब monsoon wedding आई थी and my uncle Nasir साहब was there. Uncle and politician का. But this is of an immediate father and a daughter. There's something really, really concerned. ये society में if we have to turn a blind eye to it, we'll be kidding our own selves. ऐसा होता है. It happens where you don't expect. So please be cautious, everyone. On that note, thank you very much, Anand Madhavan, Nanda Puri, Gitika Tyagi, Deswani Kolhapuri, and Chef Heather Hassan Bhai. It was an honor and indeed a pleasure being in conversation with you. And I sincerely look forward to not just 1st of March, Chef Bhai coming to Delhi. 2nd February को I'll have the नसीब होगा ये फिल्म देखने का दोबारा. शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
In a